You're listening to PetLifeRadio.com.
Hello and welcome to Six Figure Dog Business on PetLifeRadio.com. I am your host Ty of TyTheDogGuy.com, and this is the show where we help you start or grow your pet-related business to a healthy 6 figures per year or more income. And today we're going to be talking about sales and discounting, specifically Black Friday sales. I'm going to be sharing with you how I was able to create $15,000 or so in revenue through a Black Friday sale that we just did here recently on, of course, Black Friday. So stay right with us. I'll show you exactly how we did that.
Sit. Stay. We'll be right back after a short pause.
It's DesignerPetSweaters.com. Hand-knitted designer sweaters for your precious pup or cool cat. Beautiful couture patterns for your pets, including custom-knitted formal wear, casual wear, yachting, and even sports-themed. Many designer pet sweaters include feathered tammy hats, top hats, and a lot of sparkle. Each sweater includes leg loops, front paw sleeves, and leash opening. Visit DesignerPetSweaters.com to order your four-legged fashions today. Your pets will stay warm for the winter and be runway ready. Large or small, we fit them all. DesignerPetSweaters.com.
Let's talk pets on PetLifeRadio.com.
Okay, we're back. And like I say, I wanted to talk to you today about Black Friday sales. Now, this show is going to be a little bit difficult for me, simply because I am one that for years has always spoken against discounting, have always spoken against sales, have spoken against things like that, because I believed, and to a degree I still do believe, that discounting or sales done wrong can really cheapen the experience and cheapen everything that you do with your business. That when people see a lot of sales, they don't take your business as seriously and things like that, and they see you as a discounter, and they're always just trying to look to you based on price. And I don't like to create price-based conversations with my clients. Of course, they need to know the price and things like that, but I want value-based conversations. So this is how I felt for 10 years. This is what I believe for 10 years as I've run my business, as I've consulted with other dog businesses like yours, things like that, that I've always believed that. And like I say, I still do believe it. But I was working with, another business professional, not in dog business, entirely different business. And they were talking about how they did Black Friday sales. And I was just convinced to give it a try. And I was convinced to give it a try. And so I did it. But I wanted to do it in a certain specific ways to where hopefully I didn't create the problems that discounting can sometimes do. So that's what I wanted to do today's show on, and explain exactly how I was able to do that and how I was able to earn around $15,000. Now, when I say around $15,000, it's because right now we're removed from the Black Friday sale by about a week or so, and we're still like tallying things, and we're still getting in touch with some of the people and stuff like that. So I'm not exactly sure, but based on all the numbers right now, it looks like we did about $15,000 in sales. So let me first explain what the sales were. So I've got essentially two types of products. We've got a service, which is locally here in Utah, where we train people's dogs. And our two biggest programs are $2,600 and $1,500. Now, about a year ago, they were $2,200 and about $1,300. And our margins were fine. They're not as good as I wanted, but they were fine. And so that's going to be important here in a second, and I'll explain why. And then I've got digital products and online products. And so these are, dog training DVDs or dog training membership websites, things like that, where people from around the world can buy these and they can train their dogs at home based on the videos that we've done. And they're very successful, and people are able to do some really great things with them. But those are our two main things. We also sell dog food, and we also sell e-collars, and there's other things that we sell. But primarily, those are the two big things that we sell: is those training programs and then the online training programs. So the services and products. So that's, of course, what I was going to do in our Black Friday sale. I didn't want to do something that no one ever buys. Of course, I want to do something that people got. Now, I didn't want to kill my margins, because the idea that a lot of stores have with Black Friday is that, they get you in with Black Friday and ideally you're going to buy some other stuff at regular margins. So you come in for the TV that's $200, but you buy a whole bunch of other stuff while you're there, right? That's the idea behind Black Friday, is they're willing to kill some of their margin up front in order to keep you around and stuff like that, and ideally have you buy some other stuff. Now, I don't really have that option. We're not, this huge store that has tons of different things. And so I knew that I needed to keep margin. So this isn't just for Black Friday. This is, as I'm saying these things, I want you thinking about discounting in general. That if you ever need an influx of cash, if you ever have brought on a new employee, if you've got a sick child, there's a bunch of reasons why you might need this influx of cash, that discounting, a one-time discount, might make sense. And maybe it's going to be a Black Friday, like I did. Or maybe it's going to be a Cyber Monday. Or maybe it's going to be, a Valentine's sale. Or maybe it's whatever it is. That there needs to be a reason for it. But like I say, so I don't want you just thinking in terms of just Black Friday. I want you thinking in terms of, if I ever need to do a discount, or if I want to discount maybe once or twice a year. Like I say, here's some steps that I took to do that. So like I say, I wanted to make sure that we kept margins healthy. Because ideally, when we bring in new clients through our Black Friday sale, yes, we will sell them on more stuff. Boarding and daycare and grooming and other things down the road. But I needed my upfront margins to remain healthy, because I'd never done this before, and I knew I couldn't count on somebody coming in and buying a ton more stuff. So I wanted healthy-ish margins. Now, anytime you discount, of course, you're digging into your margin. But I was able to do that and still keep healthy margins, because all I did was go back to prices that we had like a year or two ago, or whenever it was. And so from our $2,600 program, we took $400 off. Now, $400 off is a big deal. That's not any small amount of money to take off. But it's also the exact amount that we just put on for the same program, just like I say, a year or two ago. And so it's not like, we were killing our margins, because before we had okay margins. But for the consumer, that's a big deal. That's a big reduction in price. $400 is nothing small. They can go buy their Black Friday TV with that kind of savings. And then on our $1,500 program, we went down to $1,300. So we took $200 off. So $200 isn't like this huge amount, but so if somebody's been wanting to do our training and just couldn't afford it, $200 could very well be the difference, between affording it and not. And so anyways, those are the discounts that we did on our services. Now, on our training program, I was able to present it and frame it in a way that allowed for almost essentially no margin to be lost, basically. Because normally we sell our DVD programs, so all of our videos go on DVD programs or on a tablet. And we sell the DVD programs for $197, we sell the tablet for $250. But there's obviously fulfillment costs. We have to print the DVDs, we got to ship them, the time it takes to have an employee go to the post office, etc. So there's fulfillment costs. Whereas what I did for the Black Friday sale was say, hey, the exact same stuff that's on the DVD, that's on the tablet, we're just simply going to put it online for you, and it's $97. And so that's $97 of just pure profit, because it doesn't cost us anything to have the membership website. In fact, we already have that membership website. It's already sitting there, because anyone that buys the DVDs already gets access. And so anyways, the margin was pure profit there. So I want to talk about the results that we had in selling this. And then I'm going to tell you kind of how, and several tips that I found that were pretty important for what we did. So we did, I want to say, around $15,000. And so we sold about 20 of the $97 products, so around $2,000 worth of that $97 product. And then we sold about 8, and it ended up being around $1,600. When you average it out, some people were buying the $1,300, some people were buying the $2,200. But it ended up being around $1,600 per. Like I say, we're still figuring out 1 or 2 of those. So it could go up or down a little bit depending on that. But so if I do my math right, 8, I should have done this before the show. This is not very good thinking. So 8 at $1,600 is $12,800, and then about $2,000 in DVDs. So yeah, like I say, right around $15,000. And I don't expect that will be the end. I expect that these 8 people will end up buying daycare and boarding and stuff like that. So like I say, we'll end up making more than $15,000 from this promotion. Now, here's some interesting stuff that I want folks to really pay attention to. Because I've got a fairly big list of dog owners. And so my list right now is coming up on 30,000 dog owners from around the world. And when I say list, I mean an email list. In some cases, it's just a name and an email. In other cases, it's a whole range of information from name, phone number, email, tell us about your dog, give us, blah, blah, blah. And so this list has been compiled online through various landing pages and opt-in forms and things like that. So that's why I say the information is varying and it's people from all over the world. And so I have a list of about 30,000 people total. So when I was creating my list, I wanted to exclude some people because people that have already bought other things, I didn't want them to get the Black Friday special. So the ultimate list that I mailed to was roughly 27,000 people that I emailed information about my $97 special. So 27,000 of those, and I sold 20. So it's a very low take rate. And that's the case with email, that's the case with online marketing, that the take rate typically is low. And so that's where, a lot of folks kind of go wrong when they're trying to sell products online, is they're like, oh, I'll just sell like a t-shirt, or I'll just sell this or that, or I'll just sell like a little gadget or a little gizmo that I've created or something like that. You can't really do that because conversion rates are so low online. I mean, they're so low in everything, but they're so low online that you have to have so many people know about your product before just one person buys it. And so if you're going to sell something that's $50 or $20 or whatever, you're not going to get very far because the numbers don't work. You can't afford to get the amount of traffic you need to sell a $50 product or a $20 product or something like that. And so that's where, like I say, most of the time our products are in the range of $200, $250, and then we've got back end stuff and things like that. And doing that, we can afford to make good money with our products. So anyways, what I'm getting at is over the years, I've compiled this list of 27,000 people. They're all over the world. Some are here in Utah, but the majority aren't. And these are people that have a dog or some interest in dog training or something along the line, have entered their information. And so only 20 people took us up on that. And so that's not huge at all, but it was $2,000 that we wouldn't have had from 27,000 name list. And as I went and looked through, the overwhelming majority were people that had been on the list forever. They had received dozens, if not hundreds of emails from us over the years. We'd been marketing them forever. But it just, our offers weren't good enough for them. They weren't interested or whatever the case might be. And finally, we come down the pike with something that's $97, and they're like, sure, I'll take it. So like I say, for us, that is just free money. Because these are people that we already took the effort, the time, and the money to get them on their list, that they weren't doing anything, that they weren't, bringing us anything, and we just offer them something special, and we get $2,000 out of that, for doing literally nothing. It was my web guy. It took him about an hour to set it up. My web guy cost $5 an hour, so it took me $5 to set it up. Made $2,000 out of that, from a list that had never bought anything, had never done anything, and so yeah, that's, that was a good little chunk of change for essentially doing nothing. Now, here's the other thing. So we sold about 8 from our other list. Now, our other list was people here in Utah that had at one point or another reached out for information for local training. These are not people that we were pitching our DVDs to or whatever. These are people that want our local training. And our local training generally ranges $700 up to, $3,000, $3,500 or so. So that list was much smaller. And I didn't take the whole list. I took the list from about, the past 6 months. And I filtered some people out, people that had purchased and all sorts of stuff. And so that left us with a list of about 800 people here in Utah that we were pitching a $2,200 or a $1,300 program to. And so we sold 8 of those. And so it's interesting because it's a program that is much more expensive. $2,200 is a lot more than $97. But the conversion rates were much, much bigger. And this is one thing that I often tell folks. I tell consulting clients and things like this, there's a huge gem here, a huge gem of knowledge, that it often is not more difficult to sell a bigger program. It's often easier to sell a bigger program than it is to sell a smaller program. Let me repeat that. It's often easier to sell a higher ticket program than it is to sell a lower ticket program. And why is that? Well, if you look at the psychology of things, it kind of makes sense. Somebody buying a $97 product, like whatever, they're like interested in their dog. hey, let me give this a shot. They know they're not risking very much. It's not a big deal to them to, put out $97 and see what comes back. For most people, 97 might be a lot to some people, but for most people, 97 is not that much. It's just kind of, well, I love my dog. Let me give this a shot, right? I've heard about this guy. I've been getting his emails for a while. Let me give it a try. And so you're not getting generally people that are super committed or super interested. These are just people that are like, okay, yeah, let me try. Whereas people that opted into our other funnels and said, I really want some really solid training here locally. These guys are too expensive. Okay. And so they don't necessarily go for it at first. But those are people that are serious. They're committed. In fact, I'm going to talk about this a little bit more after the break, but these are people that are serious and committed. And so the quality of lead is so much better of that person than, some person that just at some point was like, yeah, I'm interested in dog training. I'll get your free report. Here's my email. And so I've got the email of both people, but the intent is so much different. And so when you can create leads of people that have intent to buy dog training, selling them $2,200 is easier than selling this guy $97 worth of dog training. So think about that. Think about the quality of lead that you're creating and how you can go about creating a higher quality lead of somebody that's very interested. That's one thing that, we've been able to do. So I want to take a break. When I come back, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the nuts and bolts on how we were able to do some of this stuff and what I did. And so stay right with me. I'll be right back.
Sit. Stay. We'll be right back after a short pause.
He was malnourished and emaciated.
Constant scratching and just being unpleasant.
He was shedding excessively.
He was losing his fur.
Franklin was rescued from the streets of Los Angeles.
Bear was a rescue from the same shelter in Kansas City, Missouri that I got JJ the Terrier.
I found his raw meat diet, which is raw meat, eggs, rice, and Dinovite and Lico Chops. His omega-3 supplement on Dinovite.com.
DINOVITE.com. I've got my ground beef, the Dinovite, and I just mix it all together with the eggs and the shells.
Franklin, he's thriving. His coat is soft and shiny. He's shedding much less.
They're much happier. Their coats are better. Their behavior, especially their behavior, is better. How do you feed your shelter dog to derive a great attitude?
Start that little pet off right.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000.
Just go to Dinovite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Hi, I'm Dana Humphrey, the founder of Whitegate PR. We have been specializing in PR and marketing in the pet industry for over 10 years. If you have a pet product or service you would like to promote, give us a call. We can help create awareness for your brand on TV, radio, magazines, newspapers, and blogs. Feel free to reach me directly at 619-414-9307 or learn more on our website at whitegatepr.com or follow us on Facebook.
Let's talk pets
Let's talk pets
on Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
All right, so I'm back, and we're talking about Black Friday sale and how I was able to create about $15,000 short term and hopefully a lot more than that long term through our Black Friday sale. And so like I say, the last thing I was talking about is that the take rate, the conversion rate, from a list of 800, I was able to sell about $13,000. From a list of 27,000, I was able to sell about $2,000. And I was talking about intent, on what, the intent of people, what people's intent is and how, the quality of lead affects things. And the quality of lead affects on that, for me, it was far easier to sell. My conversion rate was 1%. On a $1,300 or $2,200 product, and my conversion rate was like 0.0000 something on a $100 product. And so like I say, it's very interesting. Don't get caught thinking that you need to be selling people cheap stuff. Now, the reason that I have cheap stuff is because it does allow me, to scale. So I can sell tens of thousands of dollars worth of stuff, and it takes me no time or effort. When it's like a digital product or a DVD or something like that, the time or effort is tiny. So I can scale very easily that, whereas to sell like a ton of local training, well, I have to have the trainers to be able to fulfill that. So that's why I have both ends of my business. Both bring in very good money, but like I say, for the dog trainer, dog walker, pet sitter listening to this, It's often easier to sell a bigger ticket item than it is to sell a smaller ticket item, because a bigger ticket item means a lot more value. It means you're affecting that person's life way more. You're bringing so much more to them, and people are willing to pay for that. People don't expect that I'm going to be changing their life for $97. Although we do. We have some really awesome testimonials from people that have gone through that program, but no one's going into it expecting to change their life. Whereas if they're spending $2,200, they're probably expecting that their life is going to be significantly different, and we'll do that for them. So how did I do it? So we ran the sale from Black Friday to Cyber Monday. And so I was able to do it because I have a list. I couldn't really do it on social media, because if I put it out there on Facebook, all of my other clients who have got it at bigger costs, bigger prices, would be pretty ticked. Maybe. But I didn't want to alienate, clients that have paid full price. Although I think they understand. People understand that with Black Friday there's going to be a sale and things like that. But I didn't want to alienate people. And so it's not like I could do it on Facebook. I did see another local trainer do it on Facebook. I don't know the results that they got, but I didn't want to run a Black Friday special on Facebook and alienate people. And so I was able to do it because I had a list. And so Friday morning, I sent out an email. Hey, we're doing a Black Friday special. Here's what it is. Go check out this link. And it explains everything. And it went to a landing page. And the landing page was just a video, an order form, and a ton of testimonials. That's it. And that's what I like most landing pages to be. When I'm going for the sale, landing page going for a lead or something is a different story. When I'm going for the sale, I want, a video, an order form, and a ton of testimonials showing why they should be the next testimonial. So very simple. And like I say, I had my web guide do it very easily. We use ClickFunnels, to create these landing pages, and it was as simple as that. And so Friday morning, we sent the email. We got a few orders. Friday evening, we sent the email. We got a few orders. And again, it was different emails to the different lists. One list was promoting the $97. The other list was promoting the bigger products. Saturday morning, I sent an email. Now, the reason I didn't send it as much, if I had the ability, well, I did have the ability, but my email server, I can send 100,000 emails per month. Above and beyond that, it starts charging me extra. And so I knew I was going to be charged extra because I was sending to my list of 27,000, I was sending them 2 emails on Friday, 1 on Saturday, 1 on Sunday, 2 on Monday. So right there, I know I was going to go way over. And that's in addition to all the other email marketing I do every month, which is substantial. And so I didn't want to, be paying $1,000 extra. But if I had a small list, I probably would have emailed them 3 times Friday, 3 times Saturday, 3 times Sunday, 3 times Monday, or more. I would have emailed them a ton. I would have been in their email box just either encouraging them to do it or ticking them off one way or the other. And had I done that, had I spent an extra $1,000, because every 100,000 extra that I send is another $100. So had I spent that extra $1,000, who knows? Maybe I would have sold $20,000. So maybe it would have been a good investment. But as it stands, I spent an extra few $100s on all the extra emails. And like I say, we were able to bring in, $15,000 or so. But anyway, so that was the frequency of the emails. And that's one thing that I'm constantly trying to preach to people, is that you will make more sales if you make more offers. And I know that sounds like ridiculously simplistic and almost silly, well, duh. But that's a big problem, right? Because for most folks, most dog trainers and pet sitters and walkers and groomers, they make one offer. And that offer is the time that they talk to the person. Now, I'm constantly trying to get people to build an email list, because an email list allows you to stay in front of people. So I make so many offers to my people. So whenever somebody enters into one of our sales funnels, they start getting emails. We might call them depending on which funnel they entered. But it allows us to make so many more offers. Now, this is important because by nature, not everyone's a good salesperson. And so I can't expect, that I'm always going to be a perfect salesperson. I can't expect that people I hire are going to be perfect salespeople. One thing I do know is that frequency of offers often overcomes lack of ability of salespeople, because one stellar sales pitch from one person is often less than 10 okay pitches. And so, like I say, I emailed everyone on that list Friday, so 2, 3, 4, 6 times. Everyone got 6 emails over the course of that weekend. And so they got 6 offers over the course of those, few days. And that's a big deal. If they had that one offer, because every time I sent out an email, more orders came in. And then the most orders came that Friday morning, and then Monday night, when it was like, hey, we're shutting this down, you have one more chance. Those were when the biggest surge of orders came, were those 2 times. And so people aren't just going to order the first time. But that's the problem that we have as business owners is, we're busy. How do we keep making offers? And the answer is email marketing. I talked about this in our last podcast. I talk about this with all my consulting clients. Email marketing is a big deal that most people just don't do it. But because I had a list, because I've been maintaining this list, I was able to pull $15,000 out from doing almost nothing. Now, the other reason my margins were saved by this is because typically if I have to sell $15,000 worth of products, it requires a decent amount of phone time, email time. And you can probably relate, it's not like, everyone just like, hey, all right, I'm calling and I'd like your $2,000 product, please. That's not the case. There's time involved. And so even though I lost margin on some of these folks, I made a lot of that back because there was no sales time at all. I simply sent out these emails and then they signed up. And so because it was discounted, and I told them this is just as one time. I've never done this in 10 years. I probably won't ever do it again. If I do, it'll be next Black Friday, and you'll have to wait an entire year for it. So this is not happening again, and I think that's important too. I think people have to realize that if you're discounting, there's a reason for it, and that it's not going to happen again. Or if it does, it's going to be a while. If you're discounting frequently, you're going to run into some problems. You're going to run into people waiting for that. So, and I mentioned this before, but I'm just kind of going through my notes here as I'm talking. As I looked at the people who were making orders, these are almost exclusively people who had been on the list for a while. So they were people that knew about me, knew about our products, knew about my business, and hadn't bought. And so that's the other reason I was okay giving up some margin, is because I was never going to get these people's money at the prices we were at. In fact, just the other day, we had someone buy the boot camp option. He brought his dog in. He's like, oh, I'm so glad you did this. We were wanting to do it. We just could not do it at your price. And that was several people that we talked to. But, he dropped off his dog. He's like, we wouldn't have had this. And so, like I say, it's money that we would have never have had. So, yeah, the margin's smaller. But the margin's made up in the fact that we didn't have any sales time. The margin's made up in the fact that it's money we wouldn't have had. And so like I say, I felt okay about this discounting. I almost felt dirty, almost felt like I needed to take a shower at first, when I first sent out these emails with the discount, because I'm the guy who never discounts. But these key points in that we're only doing it this once, we protected our margins, we made up some of that margin in the fact that we were able to do mass sales with no effort. We made up some of the margin in the fact that on the DVD program, we're not even sending out the DVDs, so it's 100% profit. We made up the margin in the fact that these are all people that have been on the list for a while and never would have purchased. And so at the end of the day, I'm happy because this $15,000 is 15, maybe one or two of these people would have bought. So maybe it's, maybe you take that out and maybe we would have had, maybe it's $13,000. But it's $13,000 with only a slightly smaller margin, but it's a great deal for these folks. If you're ever going to discount, take those things in mind. Keep those things in mind as far as whether or not you'll have some success in your discounting. Have a reason for it. Let them know about it. Bang them over the head with it with a ton of emails. Let them know that it's not happening again. Protect your margins. Make people happy. Successful for us, may not be the right thing for you, but if you've never considered discounting and this gives you an idea that, hey, maybe there's a way that you could do this for your birthday, for Valentine's Day, for something fun or whatever, maybe you do it for charity. Hey, we're doing a discount for charity and, part of the proceeds are going to go to charity. I mean, there's a number of reasons why you might consider ever doing a discount. I've done one in 10 years and I'm glad I did. It was extra money for us, and for us, winter is usually the slow time. And so again, I'll take a little bit smaller margin in the winter as long as that revenue is coming in. So anyways, hopefully that gives you some ideas on things that you can do if you ever decide to run a discount. Make sure that you head over to PetLifeRadio.com, click on Six Figure Dog Business, and listen to all the rest of my other shows, all the rest of my other episodes. And also head over to TieTheDogGuy.com to see what I'm doing to help folks like you in growing your business. Talk to you soon.
Let's Talk Pets, every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.